Welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the latest buzz, hottest rumors, and sharpest insights straight from the heart of Cowboys Nation. If you're a die-hard Dallas Cowboys fan or even just someone who loves keeping tabs on America's team, then this is the place you want to be. Today, we're diving into a juicy Cowboys Mailbag episode packed with intriguing possibilities, big-name speculation, and some eyebrow-raising developments that could shake things up in Dallas in a major way. Buckle up, because we've got a lot to break down, including the Cowboys potentially targeting tight end Noah Fant, exploring whether veteran cornerbacks Rasul Douglas or Stephon Gilmore could shore up the secondary, and even considering a surprise addition in the form of college standout Jaydon Blue. Let's start with the name that has gotten a lot of Cowboys fans talking lately, Noah Fant. The former first-round pick, who was drafted by the Denver Broncos back in 2019 and later traded to the Seattle Seahawks as part of the Russell Wilson blockbuster, has quietly become one of the more athletic tight ends in the NFL. While Fant hasn't exactly put up Travis Kelce-type numbers, he's been a steady and reliable presence on the field, and his raw athleticism is undeniable. Standing at 6'4" and weighing in around 250 pounds, Fant runs like a wide receiver, blocks like a tight end, and brings a level of versatility that's hard to ignore. Now, why would the Cowboys even consider targeting Fant? The answer is layered. First, while Jake Ferguson has emerged as a promising young tight end, there's no such thing as having too many weapons, especially in Mike McCarthy's system, which now has to keep pace in a rapidly evolving NFC landscape. With CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and even rookie Jalen Tolbert showing signs of progress, adding a dynamic tight end like Fant could give Dak Prescott a new layer of security, especially in the red zone and on third downs. It's also worth noting that Fant is entering a contract year, and the Seahawks might not be inclined to pay top dollar to keep him long-term, particularly with other roster needs taking priority. That creates a potential trade window that Dallas could explore. It's also important to consider the Cowboys' current tight end depth chart. Behind Ferguson, there's Peyton Hendershot and Luke Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker, last year's second-round pick, has shown flashes but hasn't exactly lived up to expectations just yet. Hendershot brings energy and athleticism but has been inconsistent and occasionally unreliable in blocking schemes. If Dallas believes it's just one playmaker away from unlocking a new dimension on offense, Fant could be a relatively affordable and impactful option. But the question remains, would Jerry Jones pull the trigger? One potential hurdle in acquiring Fant could be draft capital. The Cowboys aren't exactly flush with extra picks, and they've traditionally been conservative when it comes to parting with premium assets unless they're absolutely convinced of the return. But if the price is right, say a mid-round pick or a player-for-player swap, this could be the kind of low-risk, high-reward move that helps elevate Dallas from playoff contender to legitimate Super Bowl threat. Now let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball, where the Cowboys have questions at cornerback, a position that was supposed to be a strength last season, until Trayvon Diggs went down with that season-ending ACL injury. Although Darren Bland stepped up in a major way and even made a bit of NFL history with his pick sixes, the need for veteran help on the outside is still there. That brings us to two intriguing names circulating in Cowboys circles, Rasul Douglas and Stephon Gilmore. Let's start with Rasul Douglas. The current Buffalo Bill and former Green Bay Packer is a ball-hawking corner with a big frame and a knack for making clutch plays. Douglas revived his career in Green Bay after bouncing around earlier in his career, and he showed the kind of instincts and awareness that make him an asset in zone-heavy schemes. He's physical, aggressive at the line, and has shown he can go toe-to-toe with some of the league's better receivers. Dallas fans might remember Douglas from his days with the Eagles, where he didn't exactly shine, but it's clear he's developed into a much more polished and confident player over the past few years. The Bills acquired him in a trade last season, but depending on how Buffalo's own cap situation plays out, they could be willing to listen to offers. Douglas wouldn't be a long-term fix, but he could provide depth and experience, which is critical in a position group that's been hammered by injuries. Then there's Stephon Gilmore. Cowboys fans already know what Gilmore brings to the table because, well, he was already wearing the star last season. The former Defensive Player of the Year showed he still had something left in the tank, making key plays and providing mentorship for younger guys like Bland and Diggs. The big question is whether Dallas wants to bring him back and whether Gilmore himself is interested in a return. Gilmore has been floating in the free agent waters longer than expected, and while he's not the elite shutdown corner he once was, he remains one of the savviest veterans in the game. His ability to diagnose plays, bait quarterbacks, and position himself with surgical precision makes him incredibly valuable in big game situations. The Cowboys might not be desperate at corner, but bringing back Gilmore even on a short-term deal could be a smart insurance policy as they gear up for a deep postseason run. Continuity matters, especially on defense, and Gilmore already knows Dan Quinn's system inside and out. What's fascinating here is that both Douglas and Gilmore offer something different. Douglas might be a bit more physically imposing and opportunistic, while Gilmore brings refined technique and championship pedigree. If Dallas had its way, they might like to have both, but cap space and roster limits make that unlikely. Still, don't be surprised if one of these names is wearing a star before the season kicks off. And now for the wildcard name that's stirring up buzz: Jaydon Blue. If you're not familiar with Blue yet, you might want to start paying attention. The University of Texas running back has been turning heads this offseason, and while he's still in the early stages of his college career, NFL scouts are already watching closely. The Cowboys are always looking to add young, explosive talent to their backfield, and Blue could be the kind of player who slips through the cracks on draft day, only to blossom into something special. At 5'10" and 205 pounds, Blue is a compact runner with great balance, shifty footwork, and a surprisingly powerful burst through the line. What separates him from other prospects is his vision. He sees holes developing before they open, and he has the acceleration to capitalize quickly. The Cowboys' running back room is currently in a bit of flux. Tony Pollard is gone, Rico Dowdle is trying to establish himself, and Deuce Vaughn, though electric, has limitations due to his size. There's a real opening here for a young back to earn a spot and contribute early. Blue's connection to Texas doesn't hurt either. The Cowboys have historically favored regional prospects, and the front office always keeps tabs on local college programs. There's also a certain marketing allure to adding a hometown kid, someone fans already know and love, which Jerry Jones has never been shy about embracing. Of course, Blue isn't eligible for the draft just yet, but that hasn't stopped speculation from swirling about whether the Cowboys might try to make an early move, or at the very least, keep a very close eye on his development. With NIL deals and the new transfer landscape in college football, the lines between college and pro are blurrier than ever, and teams are strategizing earlier than ever when it comes to future targets. So what does all this mean for the Cowboys as they enter one of the most pivotal seasons in recent memory? It means they're actively exploring ways to improve, and that's a good sign. Whether it's bringing in another offensive weapon like Noah Fant, fortifying the secondary with a proven vet like Gilmore or Douglas, or keeping tabs on rising stars like Jaydon Blue, this front office appears to be leaving no stone unturned. Cowboys fans have been patient, perhaps too patient, over the last 2 decades. They've watched teams with talent flame out in the playoffs, or worse, fall apart in December. But this roster, as it stands, has the bones of something special. The question now is whether the right moves will be made to complement that foundation. Dak Prescott needs all the help he can get as he enters a make-or-break year. The defense, anchored by Micah Parsons, can be elite, but only if the secondary holds up and they avoid the injury bug. The offensive line is aging, the run game is evolving, and special teams need consistency. Every unit, every decision matters. That's why these rumored moves aren't just fluff. They represent real opportunities and real challenges. Adding Noah Fant would signal a commitment to giving Prescott a fuller toolbox. Reuniting with Stephon Gilmore or acquiring a hungry vet like Rasul Douglas would send a message that this team is serious about not just competing, but contending. And monitoring talents like Jaydon Blue shows a long-term mindset that hasn't always been present in Dallas. So as we await training camp and the inevitable surprises that come with it, keep your eyes peeled. This Cowboys front office has a history of pulling off unexpected moves, sometimes frustrating, sometimes brilliant. Whether it's another free agency splash, a mid-season trade, or even a bold draft day move down the line, one thing's for certain: the Cowboys are in the spotlight, and the pressure is on. That's going to do it for today's mailbag, but the conversation is far from over. Let us know in the comments what you think about these rumors. Would you like to see Noah Fant in Dallas? Should the Cowboys make a run at Rasul Douglas or bring back Stephon Gilmore? And what do you think of Jaydon Blue's long-term potential in a Cowboys uniform? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Cowboys news and speculation, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got a lot more content coming your way as we get closer to kickoff. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and go Cowboys.